Today's event is the concluding event in our Evolving London lecture series. It brings together speakers on the economy, on housing, on the socioeconomics of London in one room to debate these issues in the round.
So 4 big ideas have emerged about bridging London's investment gap. Firstly, we must see housing as more of an economic asset and we can leverage it. Secondly, the knowledge economy needs investment in a different kind of ecosystem, venture capital, talent, new kinds of premises. Our business districts and town centres need to benefit from a new kind of business-led partnership where property owners are increasingly to the fore. And London needs an infrastructure commission to place investment and decision-making around infrastructure outside of the normal public finance cycle. Tony Travers today has argued that London needs to retain control of all of the land and property-based taxes and use that in the future to generate a new cycle of investment for the capital.
Today provided me with an opportunity as the chair of the London Finance Commission to describe what that commission proposed, which was a modest proposal by international standards, quite radical by British standards, to allow London to keep more of the taxes it generates, specifically property taxes. Of course, there'd be an offset so that it would neither be better or worse off when it kept these taxes, but thereafter there would be a powerful incentive for London's government to be pro-growth, to build up the tax base so it could then use the extra tax to invest in new capital projects and therefore make the city even more prosperous in the longer term.
We need to have a lot of new thinking, how London can pay for its infrastructure, how London can be a fair city, whether, for example, it needs to have a higher minimum wage than there is nationally, how we get house building going in a really serious way in London. People talk about this as a national issue, but it's an absolutely chronic issue in London. We need new thinking in all these areas, and we've got lots of new ideas which have come out of these lectures.
Transport infrastructure is critically important across our city, but so is the here and now provisions on the ground to make a place safe, clean and attractive. So we have to see street lighting, street cleansing, street services and policing in all of our places, as well as the long-term infrastructure investment.
Something radical needs to happen. I think on a whole range of fronts, not just skills and employment that I was talking about, but across the whole range of topics being discussed today, everybody was really saying, look, we're in a logjam at the moment and something needs to happen. And that's where Tony Travers' proposals actually will add up to breaking that logjam.
What was really interesting was that a bunch of speakers were laid on who were talking good sense, which isn't actually the consensus sense. I mean, that wouldn't be the consensus that you would find in the Treasury, for example, or the axis of Boris Johnson and George Osborne would not actually buy what was said on the platform today, but actually huge support amongst a largely business audience, many of whom are hiring, which I found good news as well. So I came away from this conference phenomenally encouraged. I think there's a constituency in London to do the things that will make it an even greater city.
Well, I was surprised by the extraordinary degree of consensus that we saw at today's event. There were a number of votes with the audience, and they all seemed to be on side, most of them anyway, on not leaving the European Union and about expanding Heathrow Airport and various other things besides. They're going to employ more people this year. But I think what you see in this is that despite London being a very mixed city, actually people do have a pretty clear sense about what they think is best for it because they experience it. They want the government and the private sector working together, and that's city government and central government and the private sector working together to improve it in ways that have a great degree of public support.
So I'd just like to ask the panel what they think a Londoner is in the current and going forward. Is there such a thing as a Londoner anymore?
I think London represents the best of the British liberal tradition. And when you say what's it to mean to be a Londoner, it's that. The many foreigners who come here and they're welcome can call themselves Londoners from day one because actually they want to be part of the party. You want to be part of the party that liberalism generates. It could be culture, it could be art, it could be medicine, it could be science, it could be the city, it could be ICT. All these things actually are brought together by this, and it creates a fantastic place to live and a fantastic place to be, and you want to be part of it. That is what being a Londoner means.